The best investments for retirement income is what we'll cover today. Please understand that we are not providing individual financial advice, as you should consult your own financial advisor. We are providing education on investments that we think are worth considering based on our 70 years of combined experience as financial advisors. Oh, and stick around to the end of the clip. Neil's going to share his favorite, a most overlooked idea to create retirement income. Let's jump right into our 4 recommendations. What are preferred shares? Preferred shares are a hybrid between bonds and stocks. They usually pay more interest than bonds, but they don't really participate in the upside that stocks might. For example, you may have stocks that can double in a month or two. Preferred shares normally do not rise or fall more than 20%. They do, however, pay attractive dividends more than the common stocks of the same company. When you buy preferred shares, you get a fixed quarterly income. Just like with bonds, the payment is fixed. Those payments, however, are called dividends. But unlike bonds, the company that issues you the preferred shares isn't required to pay you the interest. If they run into some financial difficulties, they might suspend their dividend payment. And bondholders get paid before the preferred shareholders. That's why preferred share dividends are usually higher than bond interest from the same company to compensate you for the risk you take. Unlike bonds, preferred shares never mature. When you want your money back, you sell the preferred shares on the open market at whatever the market price is. In that way, preferred shares are like stocks because stocks also don't have a maturity date. But preferred shares don't usually fluctuate, as I said, as much as common shares do. To sum it up, preferred shares pay higher dividends than bonds, but they also have a greater risk profile than bonds. They pay higher dividends than common stocks, but generally have less risk than common stocks because of these higher dividends. When investors talk about preferred shares, they usually suggest you buy them within a mutual fund. This is easier than buying individual preferred shares, and it spreads the risk out because of the diversification. But there are some advantages to buying preferred shares individually. For example, when you buy an individual preferred share, you know the income you will receive, as the dividends are a fixed amount as long as the company continues to pay that dividend. So you get the same payment every 3 months. Let me show you some examples. Let's take a look at some actual preferred shares. Here's a site on the internet called Stock Market MBA, and they have a listing of about 600 different preferred shares. Now, these are not recommendations. We're showing you simply examples of some preferred shares. So here's an issue from Bank of America, a well-known name in the United States. They're Series H8 preferred shares, and it has a par value of 25, which simply means that should Bank of America decide to redeem these at some point in the future, if you were a shareholder, you held these preferred shares, they would pay you $25 a share to redeem your shares. You can currently buy these shares for less than $25. They're selling for $23.95, which gives you a yield on your money of just over 6%. Here's another issue from Wells Fargo and Company, another well-known name. Their Series CC preferred shares also have a par value of 25. You can currently buy these shares for $17.53, which gives you a yield of 6.24% on your money. And again, should Wells Fargo call these or redeem them in the future, you would get $25 per share for your shares. You can, of course, earn even more from preferred shares from companies that have lesser safety ratings. Talk to your financial advisor for recommendations. This is really a good time to discuss risk. What's the risk of owning preferred shares? Well, the company may not be able to pay its preferred dividend, and if that happens, you won't get paid that quarter or the next quarter. Also, like all equity, there's always the risk that the shares will lose value. Even if you pick companies that seem conservative now, you really never know what's in store for them down the road. That's why we're not making any investment recommendations here, and the Retirement Crusaders suggest you speak with your own financial advisor for specific recommendations. Just make sure that when you do, ask them about your options for investing in preferred shares. Now let's skedaddle over to our next recommendation for retirement income.
For years, Larry and I have invested in trust deeds and mortgage notes. We've had pretty good luck with these investments, but there can be problems with these investments, which I'll discuss. How do trust deeds work? There are many people that can't go to a bank and get a conventional mortgage on their property. It could be that their credit rating has a ding or worse, or maybe they're recently self-employed and they may not have an earnings history. For whatever reason, justified or not, the bank doesn't want to loan those people money. That's okay with us because we'll loan them money up to 60% of the property value. And by knowing that we're lending a lot less than the property is actually worth, our worst case is if the borrower doesn't make the payments, we'll get the property back. But that's never happened to us up until now. Why? Because if the borrower can't make their payments, they'll usually sell the property to get their equity back rather than hand us the property for us to sell and us get their equity. This has been our experience, but other people I know haven't been so lucky. There is risk with trustee investing as well. The root of the problem is the valuation of the property. If the appraisal wasn't accurate, or the value of the property plummets for some other reason, you could really get stuck. If that happens, the borrower could walk away from the property and you have to then go through the legal process of obtaining ownership in a property that may be worth less than what you lent to the borrower.
Oh no!
If that happens, it all takes time and money, and if you invest in the wrong state, you might find it difficult to foreclose, which could make this turn out even worse. On the positive side, the interest on these loans ranges from 8 to 10% and it's paid monthly. These loans are arranged by mortgage brokers in your local area. Do a search on hard money lenders or trustee investments to find people. But make sure that you get references before investing through a broker to be sure they have a very long track record and good service. Make sure you do your homework and ask about the process of foreclosure and what their history has been. Now, you also have the option of investing in trustee funds, but I'm dead set against that idea. Why? Because when you do that, you have no control at all. We could give you a lot more details about investing in mortgages and trustees if you want. If you'd like us to do a dedicated video on that topic, just leave a note in the comments below. While you're at it, make sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell and the like buttons so you're notified when we make more videos on this and other important financial topics. And of course, and I can't emphasize this enough, make sure to speak with your own advisor before investing in trustees or anything. What's up next, Larry?
Secondary annuities are an option for very conservative investors who like super solid guarantees. And as long as the insurance company they invest in is solid, it can work out very well. You can purchase a regular annuity from hundreds of insurance companies, but secondary annuities pay more. What is a secondary annuity? It's an annuity that someone originally owns from an insurance company and now they want to sell part or all of their future income payments. So while the effective interest rates on an annuity you would purchase directly from an insurance company might be 3%, a secondary annuity may pay 4% or more, and it's just as safe. While the difference between 3 and 4% may not seem that large, it's 1/3 more income. Let's show you some examples. Let's give you some examples of secondary annuities. So here's an example, a site on the internet, immediateannuities.com. And they have a listing of available secondary market annuities. Now, these are annuities, as stated, that somebody owns and they want to now sell, and they're available to other investors to purchase. And while you could go and purchase an annuity from an insurance company currently, you might get 3%, these pay more. For example, let's take a look. This one has a yield of 4.46. If I click here over here for the details. So this is an annuity issued and guaranteed by Transamerica Life. The investor would invest $200,220 and then receive 9 payments of $875, and then the payments jump to $880 for the next 240 months. So it's a payment for many, many months into the future. So for your $200,000 invested, you wind up getting $322,000 back for a yield of 4.46% on your money. Let's take a look at another one. These come in all different sizes for different investment amounts. Here's an annuity issued and guaranteed by New York Life. Let's click on the details. So in this annuity, the investor would invest $78,000 and then receive $412 a month for 327 months. So for the $78,000 invested, you wind up getting $134,000 returned for a yield of 4.52%.
No discussion of retirement income would be complete without talking about bonds. But there's something that you have probably never been told before when it comes to bonds. There's a good chance that you have owned a bond fund in the past. That's because it's easier to buy bonds through funds as it spreads out the risk. But there's another way to do this. You can actually buy individual bonds.
Genius!
When you buy individual bonds, you know what interest rate you're going to get, and you know when the bonds are going to mature. And that's something that you don't get when you have bond funds. The thing is, if you're going to go this way, you need to have a lot of money in order to buy enough bonds so that you're properly diversified. With a bond fund, your investments are diversified no matter how much or little you invest. Now that we spoke about these 4 ideas, which I think are definitely worth your consideration, I want to mention that the most overlooked way to generate income for retirees is using your equity investments. That's an idea that requires its own video, and fortunately we have one. Just click on the link above to learn more about that.
In addition to that, we have other investments to discuss for retirement income, and to see those videos, be sure to click the subscribe button, and then the bell icon will appear, and click that also. Then you will get notified when those videos are published.